Today I want to create a journaling card similar to this one using my watercolor stamping technique with distress oxide inks on matte photo paper. So if you want to craft along with me, take out your stamps, take out your oxide inks and take out your photo paper and let's go into this. Hi, this is Luise Heinzel. Oh, I'm again totally excited because I want to work with my technique on photo paper again that I have shown you in one of my last videos. For me, this technique was a game changer. It is still totally mind-blowing. So if you have missed the other video and if you want to know how I made this, then please check out the info box. The link to the other video where I explain the technique in detail is down below in the description box. So this is mind-blowing because this is totally waterproof. It is made with distress oxide inks. So, by the way, this is not made with frayed burlap. That could be confusing. But it is made with distress oxide inks. And this stamp impression is now waterproof since I have stamped that to matte photo paper. If you don't believe me, look, nothing comes off. It's completely waterproof. And I think I have found this technique. I think there is no one out there who has done that before or who has figured that out, that that is possible. And I think that gives us a lot of possibilities for cards, for tags, for journaling pages, and so on, or for papercraft projects in general. So I thought I want to make a journaling card using the technique and using some other elements from my stash. The card in the end will look similar to this one. This I have made in my German video. So if you perhaps want to see this as well, then please check out the German video. This is like a reference for me today for this video, but I know myself. So the card in this video will probably turn out a little bit different. So let's see. What I have figured out while I have made the other card is that it is really helpful, and that's actually something that has nothing to do with the stamping technique, but that is something that came to my mind that I think have never thought about before. I had the idea to search for the focal point for the card first and then go from the top layer to the bottom layer instead of doing that the other way around. In the German video, I did it the other way around. I started with this background piece here, but in the end I thought, why not take first the focal point to know the size and so on, and then go downwards. Is that a word? So I want to try that, and I have two photos here that could work as a focal point. I'm just thinking, shall we make two cards? That would be good, because then we wouldn't have to decide for one of those focal points. Because when I finished this card, I had this photo here and I thought, ooh, that would have worked well as well. And this, I mean, look at this. This is gorgeous, isn't it? So let's do two cards. Okay, so we have the focal points, and I thought I want to use the scraps from last time. So this is just some digital paper from my Etsy shop. Those are called Basics Volume 2. I will link that item down below for you in the description box so that you can check that out. This looks, on the first glance, a little bit unspectacular, but this is, in my eyes, really helpful if you are a beginner or if you are searching for really, really neutral and plain paper that you can make your own by, for example, stamping to them or drawing, painting, or whatever. And if you don't want to have a totally blank and white page in front of you, then this material is just great. So I have those leftovers here, and I want to take those scraps as my first layer below the focal points. This is printed to matte photo paper. That means that everything that we stamp on here with this special technique that I have figured out will become waterproof in the end. And we will get at the same time a really, really nice watercolory look. So let's see, what can we do? I think this looks really good. The proportion of both of these are really great, and perhaps we can use this other smaller one for this photo. Yes, that is perfect. So let's take both of these. Let's put that out of the way. And for this layer, I want to have some like ledger script, and ledger script, that's also the name of the stamp set that I want to use, ledger script. The number is CMS 241 by Tim Holtz, and I want to use this stamp, and I want to stamp with what? With frayed burlap, I guess. If you haven't seen the other video where I show you the basics of this technique, then please check out the other video first. I think it's probably better to watch the other video first, because there I explain everything really detailed, and also my thoughts behind the technique I explain in the other video really, really detailed. And I also show you the technique itself a little bit more in detail than I will do that in this video. So I have stamped my oxide ink to my stamp, and it's not sticking here to the plate. That gives me a little bit like a problem, but let's see. So I will make this paper really, really wet. I will try to get that flat to my table so that the stamp impression gets nice, and I have an easier job when the paper is flat on the table. I'm going to add lots of water. Now I have to take the stamp like this and place it here, because it doesn't stick to my plate, but that's only because the stamp is not totally clean from the back. Then I'm taking a brayer to go over this. Lift that up. Don't panic about this mess here. Just take a dry paper towel, put that on top, lift it up. Don't panic. This looks like there is nothing, but this will be really gorgeous in the end. Please believe me. So I will put that aside for a moment, and we are going to take this. I'm going to dry and clean my stamp. So that I can use it again without getting water to my ink pad. So I'm spritzing water here as well. Make sure that this is totally flat. Put the stamp on top. Then the plate. Roll over it with the brayer to get some pressure. Take that off. Take the paper towel to take the water off. And then I will dry this piece and the other one with my heat gun. So then they look like this. Isn't this just amazing? This looks so cool. The oxidation of the ink is so interesting on this paper. Just gorgeous. That is really, really amazing. And I like that it is not so much on this paper and not so bam. This looks interesting, but it is not too extremely. Okay, so we will put that aside to take another paper, and next I think I want to use this one and this one. I want to use a stamp. Where is it? Here. The set is called Vines and Roses. The number is CMS 298, also from Tim Holtz. In the other video, I have used the other stamp from that set. In that set, there are 2 stamps. This is the other one. So I thought if the other one looked great, we could take this one here as well and try that out with this technique. So I'm using ground espresso for this on this paper. Yep, let's see. I'm struggling a little bit with talking because the colors of the oxide ink, when you stamp them with this technique onto the photo paper, come out very, very differently than on normal paper or on watercolor cardstock, for example. And that's the reason why I'm struggling a little bit with choosing the colors, because I have absolutely no idea if it will look great. I've discovered this technique a few days ago, and I had no chance to make swatches or something of the oxide inks, how they come out on this kind of paper. So let's see. Because, yeah, you will see that in a second. This turns out really, really differently to what you might expect. For me, it's great because I think this way we get the double amount of colors from our oxide ink collection, because if it turns out differently here, then we have a new color, and that's great, isn't it? But at the same time, it's a little bit like, yeah, guessing what could happen, and it's a little bit like surprise every time. I like surprises, but a little bit control is also not so bad. So I will make a second impression here to the bottom with the same stamp, because we need 2 of those, for one for each card. Is that wet enough? I think I want to add some more water here. And as I said, this becomes waterproof, and this is already waterproof, meaning if you now spritz a little bit of water to this area, nothing will smear, and you can just take your stamp and put it here for the second impression without the need of drying this in between. Just like this. Take a dry paper towel, lift the water and the ink that could be here on the surface up, and then I'm going to dry this. We have stamped this and this to this paper, and now I'm taking a paper that is a little bit different in the color. This is a little bit lighter and not so greenish like this one. I like to go lighter in this case, but you could also take a paper that is a little bit darker. But what I'm trying to say is take a paper that is in the same color family, that is not too different, but where you can see a difference. Yeah, don't take the same paper, because that looks not so beautiful in the end. And I want to stamp the same stamp again to both of these papers to create a layer on top of this. But now I'm going to take another color, and that is going to be Vintage Photo. Vintage Photo makes a really rusty color on the photo paper, and I really like how this color comes out on the paper. So I'm just stamping to both of these with exactly the same method. This makes me just happy. Okay, so first I want to choose a portion of this to glue it on top of this. And I think in this area here, this looks really amazing. Let's do it like this. So this can then go on top here. So now I'm taking a little bit of glue to hold this in place. I want to go to my sewing machine in a second to sew this on here. If you don't have a sewing machine, then please use a really strong glue to do this, and to make sure that this can't fall apart with the time. The difference between the colors of the paper and the stamping is not so big in the camera, but in reality it looks really interesting. This is way lighter when I look at this with my eyes than this. I don't know why the camera can't catch that so well, but I really like the idea of having this like a patchwork card. Really cool. Okay, so let's go on. Now we have to be really, really brave because we are going to cover up a lot of this beautiful background. Because I want to put this here and this here. Hi. That's always so hard. But I'm just thinking, we have these things left over. Can we perhaps, would it make sense to put some of that below here, or is that then too busy and too extremely? Why not? Why not? I think that could work. Okay, so I will sew along here as well. So here we go. And I think before we decide about smaller scraps that we could put below the photos, we should distress the edges of those rectangles here. I want to use ground espresso for that, and I'm just going around this with a finger sponge. So now let's take some collage fodder. I have my vellum collage fodder here. I have a video where I have shown you how I made this. I will link that down below for you, if you want to check that out. And I'm thinking to add some of this somewhere here. I thought this mosaic embossing thingy could be great, especially this edge here. So I'm thinking of cutting this here. Ooh, oh no, I've just destroyed it. No, I've tried to cut that with my cutting machine, with my paper trimmer, And now, a little piece of this is stuck in the machine. Oh no. But perhaps, no, that looks weird. Why did that happen? This edge was just perfect for here. Oh no. Shall we use it like this or what? I mean, perhaps if we put another piece here below the photo, perhaps that could give the imagination of, or can I cut this here? And I mean, this is the piece that was stuck in the machine. I think that can't work. No, that can't work. We will take a second piece so that we can perhaps put that here. That looks not so bad, I think. Now it looks like, I mean, if this is glued down, it looks like it's going along here, and like this is one. I think that's better. Okay. Shall we put the other one perhaps here, like this? And for this one, I want to use this kind of fodder that has those really dark areas here. I have this little card here, and as you can see, we have this blue handwriting here. I guess that's made with a ballpoint pen. This is some original ephemera, so this is not a printable. And I think the blue matches really well with the oxidation that we have in the background here. So I thought we could just tear a piece like this and not here, because then we would cover up the whole thing here. Let's make it smaller, and a second one here perhaps. I think I will put this here or leave it out completely. Yeah, but this is okay, isn't it? Yeah, I think I like this. Okay, so now I will take this to my sewing machine. Okay, so then we can decide about the haircut for the card. I like to leave those threads a little bit longer, but of course you could also cut them totally short. Perhaps you are like me and you think some of those layers could have a little shadow around to bring them out a little bit more. And since this is stamped to photo paper and this is waterproof, we can be really happy now, because we can use a crayon or something similar and a brush with water to make a shadow around here. Yay! If this was the base was normal paper or watercolor paper or whatever, then the oxide ink wouldn't be waterproof, and that would be of course a really big problem with the shading now, because yeah, it would smear. And this way we can just go around this with water and a little bit of this crayon, and nothing will smear. So where do we want to have the shadow? I think I want to go along here. since we have relatively much black on this photo, and here is a lot of darker brown, I'm thinking of taking a black piece of cardstock and put that behind here, so that we have a little frame around the card in black for this one. And for this card, I want to use this lighter paper. This is just some like handmade paper, I guess, because I think this color matches really well this background here of the photo. That makes it, yeah, I think that's great. That's totally great. I will also sew this on top of this base here. So next, let's add some white splatters. And that's, I would say, the most exciting part of this thing, because as you know, if you take white gesso mixed with water, that's what I have in my little container here, and you would spritz that to Distress Oxide ink on normal paper, this white would not stay white, because the gesso would soak the ink and those white splatters would turn into something like yellowish brownish color, but they would not stay white. And here, with this technique, let's put some more splatters so that you can really see it later. With this technique, this is not only, not only that it is waterproof, but those white splatters will stay white. And that's, for me, I don't want to say life-changing, but definitely game-changing, because, yeah, this gives so many possibilities. Sometimes you want to have some like muted splatters. Sometimes I like this effect when the splatters don't stay white and they turn into this like matching color to the oxide ink below. But for example here, I want to have the splatters really white, and that is now possible. They look a little bit like they are still wet, don't they? I mean, this is just incredible. This is so cool. I want to use Collect Beautiful Moments for this card. This looks a little bit like this was taken, this photo was taken on a holiday or something. We have here Travel the World Over to Find the Beautiful. If both of these cards would go into the same journal, that could be something like a connection between both of these, and like a little story behind that. But that is relatively long. Can we make that work? Okay, so that's it for today. I'm really happy with both of these cards. They came out really, really nice. I think I really like them, and I think that's the main point, that you like what you have on your desk when you think you are finished. I hope that can happen for you as well on your own desk. Have a very great day, happy crafting, and see you the next time. Bye bye.